We are controlling transmission.
So, this episode of the Extreme Retro Review is actually the first time I've actually written a show since the hiatus. So, from episode 1, Battle of Belts, until April 3rd of 1997 was done with no breaks. You know what I'm saying? So, from 2017 to late 2020 is, you know, when the run, you know what I'm saying? So took a fucking break and now I'm back. So I just want to give a shout out to me real quick. Cannabis Connection in the house.
420 boys in the building.
For the Extreme Retro Review for ECW. April 10th, 1997, 53 minutes, 23 seconds for this episode of Hardcore TV, which is the go-home show for Barely Legal, but also the 4th anniversary show for Hardcore Television. The person to my right, the multiversal heartthrob, sextuple P, longest reigning Street Smart audio pay-per-view predictions champion in the known and unknown multiverse. Watches this show via the WWE Network, which is on Peacock. So in a few seconds, he's going to give his thoughts and views, as well as the time, from the streaming service that leases the streaming service, which he subscribes to.
We've been doing this show for many years at this point. Oh, but before I do that, time of the show is 46 minutes and 45 seconds. We've been doing this show for many years. And not too long ago, well, I don't know, did any chance, Food, you know, when I first revealed what truly happened with the pact?
Oh, okay, yeah. So that would have been Extreme Retro Review, like number 116, 118. It was March of 1995.
So roughly 2 years ago in the show universe, of a little over 100 episodes ago, I made some shocking and startling quote-unquote allegations. And this episode, this one right here, Vindication. Hidden in plain sight. I was right.
If you have the tape for the show, in the background plays The Unforgiven by Metallica as we open with Gary and Anthony. Gary's in a neck brace and he says, "You accept to get hurt in ECW." And they cut to him getting the single arm DDT, which happened at Heatwave 1996, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 207.
You're welcome.
Gary then, for 8 minutes, talks about the entire Pitbull saga. Walked around for 2 days with a broken neck, not because he's a tough guy, not because he's a pit bull. He couldn't believe that Shane would do something like that. He tried to save Anthony from getting his neck broke by Shane, and then he got the halo toss at Stipomania, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 223.
Welcome.
Ravishing Rick Rude comes to ECW as the ECW Phantom, telling Gary that he had his neck broke before by Sting in Japan. So don't give up. Get revenge. It goes to the Hardcore Television episode recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 247.
You're welcome.
The January 23rd, 1997 show where the ECW Phantom comes back to fuck with the franchise and the return of Gary. It goes to Shane versus Gary in an I Quit match from Hostile City Showdown 1997, recounted by us in a clip form, Extreme Retro Review number 258. And Franny makes him quit with the rope assist. You broke my neck! Now Anthony's gonna break Shane's neck at the pay-per-view. We don't believe you. You need more people. HW, your thoughts of the opening montage with the Pitbulls?
Oh my God! I'm glad that you mentioned that it lasted 8 minutes, because I wrote this shit lasted 8 minutes. So originally, I thought that the most boringest promo that I would ever see would either come from Dean Malenko or Chris Benoit. But after hearing motherfucking Broke Neck Gary over here, I renamed him to the crippled Gary Benoit. The only thing to save that shit was the highlights of him getting his neck tossed to and fro. Other than that, I wanted to kill myself.
We got Joey at the Nest, shilling the pay-per-view, thanking the fans, thanking the haters. But the night before, April 12th, Terry Funk will have a Lifetime Achievement Banquet. More seats have been added for this special occasion. It's $50 per person, which includes dinner, a meet and greet, photos, and special surprises. He runs through the upper card and throws it to a fan cam house show match. H-Dub, your thoughts of the Terry Funk Lifetime Achievement Banquets?
My thoughts of the Terry Funk Lifetime Achievement banquet is how many of these has he had in his long ass lifetime? Because if for a person who's lived as many millenniums as he has, you imagine he's had to have had at least conservatively speaking, at least 70 to 80 lifetime achievement banquets. You figure one every 100 years or so. So now I'm dreading watching it. I'm not looking forward to it. The only thing that's giving me any glimmer of hope is that this is professional wrestling, so hopefully somebody will come and save us. Please, Y2J, Ghostbusters, somebody, anybody.
We got Anthony with Gary in his corner versus Rob Van Dam. His joint in progress. RVD flips onto Gary.
Sorry, because I'm right on it. I loved it when he did it. I loved his reaction to it. I love how fucked up Gary was from it. It was perfect.
RVD flips onto Gary and he's down again. Todd and the Gooficus 3 are out. Joey does the voiceover. One of the Gooficus asks, was it intentional? What an idiot. RVD and Anthony go back to doing stuff, but then Shane comes down, puts Gary in the full Nelson again. Todd starts jumping on Shane's back. Anthony wises up, chases Shane off. Shane powders, no contest. LOL. HW, your thoughts of the match?
Oh, man. Well, other than my outbursts, I don't know, for some reason my only concern was who won, because they just cut away. So yeah, I guess a no contest would make sense. And I also want to point out I was very high off this bazooka when I did that. So I guess in hindsight that wasn't such a real question after all.
Moving on. We have a shield for the official pay-per-view program. It has photos and bios of all the matches for the pay-per-view. Moving on. We got a Beulah t-shirt spot. On the hotline is Rude, the ECW Phantom. So order Crossing the Line Again, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 249.
You're welcome.
We have a BWO t-shirt spot, a Sandman t-shirt spot, a House of Hardcore shield, and also on the hotline, an Extreme Valet is involved in a controversy. Could it be Sunny Days?
Oh, shit.
What's the deal with Sid? Could it be softball? And WCW's attempt to be extreme and behind the scenes shit at the pay-per-view, all for $1.99 per minute. Fuck that shit. Move on. ECW home video spot for Extreme Warfare Volume 2, recounted by us in Extreme Retro Review number 243.
You're welcome.
We have another shield for the Barely Legal pay-per-view poster featuring Taz and Sabu, autographed by both gentlemen, only 1,000 in stock, and it's so extreme, it's barely legal.
And barely selling.
Moving on. We come back to a Franchise and Francine promo. Franchise says that the goal of every wrestler is to make history.
Yeah.
But the goal of every franchise is to change it. It goes into a montage of Shane Douglas becoming the anti-monitor, killing the niggas with attitudes universe at the NWA title tournaments, recounted by us way back in Extreme Retro Review number 83.
Oh, you're way back welcome.
Shout out to 1994 Hollywood.
Come on, somebody. You get a lot better because you was dumb as hell.
Francine says, Terry Funk once held that belt. Whether you like it or not, there would not be a pay-per-view without the franchise.
You goddamn right.
You're welcome. Then came the dark days of ECW when there was no franchise.
Facts.
He sat around a locker room full of entertainers and watched ECW from afar. He knew they needed him back to take them to the promised land of pay-per-view.
No cap.
But he really came back for one thing, and that was the sweetest girl in the world. The head cheerleader, Francine.
Lost me.
Many people want her, but only a franchise can have her. She says, sorry girls, he's taken by me. As he sat with veterans, he took pages from each vet. And from Terry Funk, he took to never look past an opponent. And at the pay-per-view, Anthony Durante is 275 pounds of raw power, and he wants to snap the franchise and Francine's neck. Francine's like, why you want to snap my neck? It's not me saying that you're insignificant in history. I'm just writing the epitaph that marks that Pitbull number 2 as a notch in the belt of the greatest performer in wrestling.
You carve out the Francine simping part. He hit 100 out of 100 in that promo. I wasn't a big fan of he came back for Francine and shit and all.
I liked it because he felt like it was insignificant because you already knew he's the franchise and he was going to take ECW to pay-per-view and shit. But he really wanted that pussy.
I guess.
No. I mean, we could always have dissenting views and shit, you know what I'm saying? But that's the way I saw this shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then he weaved the whole living legend Terry Funk situation in on and everything. And then also when he, Pitbull number 2 wants to snap both their necks and shit, she grabbed her neck. Why you want to break my neck? He's still playing it straight the entire time.
Right, yeah. Oh man, props to her for how she was selling that too, by the way. Shit. But yeah, outside of that, I thought it was a master class once again by the best wrestler on their roster.
Easily.
Easily.
From ECW Home Video, we have Extreme Warfare Volume 2. We're kind of by us in Extreme Retro Review number 243.
You're welcome.
We come back to a Dudley Boys promo. Generic heel promo, hyping a tag match at the pay-per-view. Sign guy Dudley he points to a sign behind both of the guys that reads "Total Elimination" with a question mark. HW, thoughts of the promo?
I didn't make any notes of the promo.
Moving on.
Oh shit.
We got Joey back at the nest talking about the tag match, and it segues to a 3-way dance between Gangsters, Eliminators, and Dudleys. It's a fan cam shot. Gertner does the intros for the champs. Clip tag to start with the champs versus the former champs. And it's all babyface to start through the clips. Gangsters come in. It goes extreme. And, you know, Cronus is miming, playing a video game, more clips, more stuff. You know what you're getting with the gangsters. New Jack does a leg drop senton off the balcony. It's a sloppy mess into a Bubba Cutter. Mustafa eliminates Bubba Cutter on a Mustafa to eliminate the gangsters. Sign Guy Dudley with some powder to Pee Wee. Total elimination on Bubba. Sign Guy gets super kicked. Cronus gets chaired. Saturn gets rolled up by Devon for the win. Negative infinity.
I had two thoughts. For one, before New Jack did his jump off the high structure thing, he had to have did it in one of the most gangster ways I ever seen, because there was no hesitation, no gave up. He just looked like, well, for the 0 subscribers, you'll see the face and the shoulder shaking motion that I'm making, but he just hopped off like he was about to jump in the bed or something. And speaking of which, my second thought was, how is his ass bone not shattered after that? And he just got up and walked, kept doing this thing like it was nothing.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Ayo.
Post-match, Dudley's powder. Gertner's in the ring doing some side shuffling. Eliminators strip Gertner, but Sign Guy Dudley saves Gertner and then gets total elimination to end the match. Moving on. We have an Eliminators promo. They have matching windbreakers. I never mentioned that. Generic babyface promo by Saturn. Kronos babbles to finish. Moving on. We have a shield package for the 6-man Jap match at the pay-per-view. Moving on. Joey at the Nest hyping the Japs and puts over Putz for a 10-second promo. Moving on. Sabu and Taz with a pay-per-view puff piece set to More Human Than Human by White Zombie. No need for Mad Jack Slater. Moving on. We come back to a Taz promo. He's in the dojo. He has the towel over his head. Sabu is a very welcomed visitor in his dojo. At the pay-per-view, I want him to bring the old Sabu. The one who brings 110% and willing to fight to the death. Because if he does, he's not only going to beat him, he's going to blow him up, stretch him, and he's going to choke him out. It's going to be a war that'll change their careers. He loves it so much, he can taste it. Pause. He has to choke Sabu out. He has no choice. 2 years of waiting, anger, and frustration will come to a point. I'm going to choke you out. See you on the 13th. HW, your thought of the promo?
I thought it was a good promo from Taz. He looked it tough. He sounded tough. The only question I had was he was talking about the old Sabu, and I'm like, what's the difference? Because it seemed like the same dumbass, reckless dude who, you know what I'm saying, who tries to kill himself every match. You know?
Same nigga going through tables.
Yeah, like, who's this old Sabu? But other than that, no, I thought it was good shit out of Taz.
We have a poster shield featuring Taz and Sabu at the pay-per-view. Barely legal. Signed by both men. Only 1,000 in stock, so hurry up and get yours. Because it's so extreme. It's barely legal.
It's being poor neck beards.
We have another shield for the souvenir program for the pay-per-view. Moving on. We have a t-shirt shield run. It's not for everyone t-shirt. The BWOT. Crossing the line again. Recounted by us. Extreme Retro Review number 249.
You're welcome.
The Beulah t-shirt. The Hazardous for Your Health t-shirt. And also the pay-per-view poster featuring Taz and Sabu. Autographed by both men. 1,000 in stock. Hurry up and get yours. Because it's so extreme. It's barely legal.
I'm so glad I'm so high right now.
We got Joey at the Nest, and he throws it to Sandman for a quote-unquote back and forth. Joey's asking questions. Sandman is just smoking a cigarette and drinking a beer. It was ridiculous. Moving on.
Yeah, straight no-so this shit.
It was complete post. It was ridiculous. We have a BWO spot. Highlight Stevie kicking people and how he fits into the three-way dance at the pay-per-view. No words, just the BWO theme. It sucked.
Yeah, there's one moment in that particular package that's so most of it was basically a BWO and Stevie highlight package, if you will. But then there was one shot in there where Raven just straight jabs Stevie, and he looks at him or whatever, but basically it's just Stevie getting punched in the face and doing nothing. So I'm like, how does that make the highlight package?
We come back to a Raven promo. He's sitting backstage spitting some gibberish. I don't know.
He was getting real. He was shooting.
He was talking about seeing a 117-year-old gypsy who told his future, saying something about fear and dreams. Then he talks about his recent stay at rehab and tries to tie that to the three-way dance for his title. It was ridiculous. Quote the heavyweight champ forevermore. He likes the pain and anguish. It was terrible. HW, your thoughts of the promo?
I don't know. Raven had me hooked. I was enthralled and shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially when he got to talking about the rehab. I'm like, oh shit.
Whatever. In our final segment of this go home show, set to Desperado, we got Terry Funk, the living legend, walking across the Texas Panhandle. That's Western Texas for you geographically deficient individuals, and goes to the gravesite of Dory Funk Sr., who was officially born May 4th, 1919, and died officially June 3rd, 1973. On his gravesite, it reads, and I quote, "Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die." H-Dub, your thoughts of just the gravesites?
I fucking knew it. I fucking told you motherfuckers, and now they telling you motherfuckers.
You know, I've put out the week in wrestling history, as my partner in crime likes to call it. Terry Funk travels through time. And he said that, this show is a vindication for everything that he's been saying for the past 6 years that we've been doing this show. And ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing I can say. I did not die. Terry Funk then chuckles and says he didn't spiritually. His wife and kids are going to be at the pay-per-view, and his father is also going to be at the pay-per-view.
What?
Spiritually. If he can win the three-way dance, and if he can beat Raven, he'll have to do it one step at a time.
What?
Dad, this is for you. And it ends with a shot of Dory Funk Sr. HW, your thoughts of the go-home package for the go-home show for the first pay-per-view?
I am literally shaking in my seat right now because there is only one other moment that I thought that would be my ultimate vindication, and that was when Ray J confirmed what I always knew, that Kris Kardashian was pimping out motherfucking Kim, and with that sex tape shit and shit. I've been calling that shit for years or shit, but nobody trying to hear me. And then I told y'all motherfuckers about the pyramid and the pact with Beelzebub, El Diablo, whatever you want to call it. I just feel good, and now I feel so good. My fucking brain is melting down because when you've been saying something for so long and then they basically confirm it, you know why Dory Funk is going to be at Barely Legal? Because he was furious, the snitch, with the head So that's how he know how his daddy's going to be there, because he's going to be there inside of the quote-unquote living legend Terry Funk.
Overall, this is the greatest go-home show ECW has ever produced. It had everything for me. Pause. If you are a fan of the pleasure I get from witnessing my partner go through the throes of agony, talking about Terry Funk and the Funk family, please do me the service of watching this show. We have had the longest running trope of ECW having terrible go-home shows for their big shows. And they put it all out there with promos. They put it all out there with puff pieces. They put it all out there with poster shilling. And now, April 13th, we are finally fucking here. Barely legal. But the night before will be the Terry Funk Lifetime Achievement Banquet.
Oh, when will it end?
April 12th. Join us as we review the Terry Funk Lifetime Achievement Banquet and the Barely Legal pay-per-view. But until then, always know that life is a work, so make sure you get paid for it. We out. Peace.
Peace.
We are controlling transmission.